بلساني يفقه قولي. بسم الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How we doing? How's everyone doing today? Wait for people to jump on. Hamza wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. كيف حالكم? How's everyone doing? Alright. I'll jump straight into it, inshallah. I hope not to make this too long, and I will take questions afterwards. Saidi, good evening. How are we doing? I think I need to make a few clarifications. Because I realize, when you talk about a topic, it's something. There's a term called the curse of knowledge. And this term refers to when you have so much insight into a particular topic that when you talk about it with others, you assume that they understand the foundational elements of that topic, but actually they don't. It's called the curse of knowledge. And I've made this mistake, I realized, in some of my videos. I'm talking about something, and I'm talking about perhaps an intermediate level of this discussion without addressing the foundation. So, when I make generalized statements about men, I should make it very clear that those statements that I make about men and how they think, I am referring to an exclusive group of men, okay? You might know this group to be the term that's been flying around recently. It's become quite fashionable now. High value men, okay? Or aspiring high value men. You may have heard this term. Now, because there's been a lot of men who have quite openly voiced their disagreement with me when it comes to my view, for example, on women who have been married multiple times or have children and so on. And my answer to those men are, that's because you're a low value man. For example, one gentleman said to me, no, I want to share half the bills with my wife. I expect her to share half the bills. And my response to him was, yes, that's because you're a low value man. And that's why you'd also be willing to pair up with a woman who may not necessarily be, at the top of the pecking order. Maybe she's been married a few times before. Maybe she's got a few kids and you don't. And you're happy to pair up with her because you yourself are a low value man. So I should make it very clear that the very generalized statements I make, I am referring to an exclusive group of men known as high value men. Now, Pareto's law states that 20% of any group will have 80% of choices to choose from. For example, 80% of the wealth in the world is divided by 20% of the population of people on earth. Equally, 20% of men have access to 80% of women. Pareto's law, okay, it's called the Pareto Distribution. And you'll find this in all walks of life. It's roughly 80-20 wherever you go. The top 20% are, so for example, your top 20% of customers in your business will be responsible for 80% of your business, your biggest customers. All right, it's called the Pareto law. So when I make these statements, I am referring to an exclusive group of men, high value men. Now, I myself, I have married women that I don't recommend other men marrying. I have, for example, married divorcees. I've been married to a woman who was divorced 3 times before she married me. And she had 4 kids. Okay? And let's look into why that was. Well, when I married that particular woman, I was the very definition of a low value male. Right? I was young, 25 years old. So I hadn't reached my peak maturity. And I had very little resources. That's the definition of a low value male. Now, a low value male is willing to consider options he wouldn't necessarily consider if he was high value. Remember, high value men have access to all women. They have access to women that they couldn't access on their looks alone. They may well be very unattractive. It's the reason why Russian oligarchs, 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, 75. And they have the most beautiful, stunning women around them. Why is that? Because they're high value. They might even have crappy characters, to be honest with you. But because they have resources, they are able to provide a very high level of living for these women. These women make the sacrifice of his fat belly and his balding head and his old age. They're willing to trade that off because he has resources. Now, there is a difference between high value and high character. I concede that having money, having resources alone is not enough, it's inadequate to classify you as a true high value male. But we can't gloss over this reality. It's a reality that women do tend to seek out a man who can provide them with a high level of stability. Let's not use the word money. People don't like money, so it's got an ugly connotation. Women are attracted to men who can provide them with a high level of stability. Men who have resources, men of power. Those men are desirable, right? So a low value male is more willing to make concessions. It's not even a concession. It's just that's his level. That's his level. Those are the type of women he's able to access. Women who may have been in multiple relationships in the past or have children from previous relationships. Those are the only type of women he can access. And so he takes them on gladly. Now we peak at different times, men and women. Women tend to peak in their early 20s in terms of their desirability to men. They are at their most desirable in their early 20s. Men, on the other hand, tend to peak a lot later on down the line. We tend to peak late 30s, early 40s. That's when not only he becomes emotionally mature at long last, yes, we take ages to grow up basically, but also his resources, his wealth finally starts to become significant. It takes time to compound wealth. It takes time. It's a process of building wealth. And so it's at that age of late 30s, early 40s that a man finally starts coming into his prime. So what does that mean for the younger men? It means that particularly if you're looking to marry, I should say, or pair up with a younger woman, younger men tend to make a lot of concessions because they inherently know that they're low value. They know it. And I say to these men, even though you may be low value to the market at that moment in time, if you have a plan and you know where you want to go and you're putting in the work, the graft to get there, then don't make those concessions. Because women bet in two ways. Number one, you've already made it and you have the resources and stability to offer. Number two, they think you're going to make it. They are prepared to make that bet on you if they can sense and feel from you that you're a man who's got a plan and is going somewhere. And you do not project this by telling them. You don't tell them, oh, by the way, I work really hard, and I'm grafting and I'm really no. Anyone who says this is not that person. Okay? You simply show them by doing it, by just being about that life. Be about that life. Be genuinely on your grind. She will sense it from you. There are many things as human beings, we're intuitive creatures. Many things we just don't need to say. We can just feel it. You can sense it. You can sense when someone's about that life and you can sense when someone's not. So be about that life and you will still have women, beautiful young women, willing to place that bet on you because they feel you're going somewhere. The only type of men who are happy and prepared to make concessions are low value men going nowhere. Low value men without a plan. Those are the type of men willing to make those concessions. So let's check out the comments. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the question thing. I see a couple of you sent me requests. I'll send them back. Jay Swasti, I sent you a request. What about age gaps, especially when a man is far more younger than the woman? Ayman, give me more, explain that question better to me, please. What do you mean when a man is far younger than the woman? What are you implying exactly? Westside, appreciate it, brother. Women are attracted to wisdom and experience too. Yes, that's what I was saying, that a man's emotional maturity, he starts getting there when he's around 40. Even if you're a Muslim, you will know all of the prophets, with the exception of Isa alayhi salam, were given prophethood at the age of 40. It's the age of maturity for a man. I don't know why we take so long to grow up. I wish I could tell you, but we do. It is what it is. Okay? Maybe we are like wines. It takes a while for us to mature. I don't know. But the point is this, is that a man, even if he's mature when he's young, he will still be more mature when he's older. Here's what it is. So you're saying we should marry later on. Okay, no. This is not what I'm saying. To the Muslims watching this now, we are Muslims. We cannot fulfill our needs of our relationship needs except in a marriage, right? So you should still get married young, as a younger man. I'm simply saying, if you're a man who's on his purpose, with a goal, with a direction, the woman will still view you as a high-value man, even if you are not on paper yet. She can see your potential. It's like a boxing promoter or a football scout. They're prepared to put big money on signing this young prodigy. Was it prodigy? I think it's prodigy, right? Prodigy. I always get those two words mixed up. They are prepared to put big money on this youngster because of his potential. You got it? So if you're about that life, a woman will see your potential. She can sense it. She can feed it. You don't need to tell her. She can just tell. And you will be, as a result, viewed as a high-value male. But then after that, you've got to produce the goods. Right. This is a good one. Do you fully agree with 48 laws of power? No, I don't. Some of the laws, I've had to be really careful with them. I've studied them because I'd like to know what type of weapons people would be using against me. Some of them are outright haram, straight up haram. Like, for example, always have a scapegoat to blame for your actions. Always. Like, no, you need to take responsibility for your actions, especially as a Muslim man. But I understand in the realm of power, he's right. When it comes to politics, you're a president, for example. You can't ever catch, for example, let's say Barack Obama. No, who is it now? Who's the president now? Is it Biden? Let's say Biden gets caught up in some sex scandal, right? He cheated on his wife. I don't even know if he's married. He gets caught up in a scandal. Biden can't come out and say, yeah, you know what, guys, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. The people won't have it. Heads need to roll. The moment that he makes that confession, heads must roll. He can't do that. He needs a scapegoat. So there's laws of power that I don't agree with, and they are inherently haram. But I learn them so that I know what evil is, so that I can know what to watch out for. Hope that answers that question. This is a really important question. How do you find your purpose? Let me answer it very simply. You find your purpose by doing. Most of us are not blessed or cursed, depending on which way you look at it, to know what our purpose is. Most of us don't know. So just do stuff. Just do and do and do and do. Even to this day, let me be honest with you, I don't know if I found my purpose yet. I really don't know. I hope I have, but I don't know for sure. I'm still young in relative terms. I haven't reached my peak as a man, my maturity. That 40 to 60 age gap are the peak years for a man. So even I don't know if I've found my purpose. Just do. Do and do and do. Eventually you will find your purpose. Create art. I agree with you. I think I'm like a bull in a china shop, man. Like, my delivery can lack a lot of wisdom at times. And even I look back on my content, I'm like, really, Mahdi, did you have to say it like that? But it just comes naturally to me. That bull in a china shop mentality just comes naturally to me. Something I've got to work on. Right. وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. Excellent, mashallah. Right, let's see this question. What if you're interested in this girl and she ticks off the boxes, but she's playing hard even though you've pulled away? All right, guys. There's a few things here. Firstly and foremostly, if she's playing hard to get, it may well be because either you've shown too much interest in the first place and she's put off you now, or she simply doesn't view you as her best choice and she's got options elsewhere. okay? But if you're getting too hung up on her, it's probably because you're placing all your chips on her in the first place. You've betted you put all your chips down on this one woman in the first place. So, you know, that's why you're feeling what you're feeling. And I say to brothers, unapologetically, and I know there's ladies watching this now, particularly when you're looking to get married, you need to have multiple sisters on your roster at the same time. It's for your own good. It's for their good, because you are going to get too needy on one sister. It's going to push her away. You need to have multiple sisters on your roster so that you can have that ability to hold yourself together and not be so vomit needy upon any one of them. All right? So if you're feeling like really sprung on one of them, it's probably because you don't have options. You need options. All right? Yeah, if she wants you, she won't play games. This is true. This is true. Some girls are toxic. They enjoy games. They like the games. Coquettes. Search up the word. Josephine, the wife of Napoleon, was a coquette. Cleopatra, the wife of Mark Antonio and Julius Caesar, was a coquette. These women are masters in the art of coquetry. They know how to manipulate men to get what they want. Check out my red flags video on YouTube if you want to learn more about that. Frosty, bro, you need to tutor me one to one of these things. Bro, you go onto my Patreon, link is in my bio. We can do that. I do private consultations. Right. This is a great question. I love this question. Any advice for men who are in their 20s? Yes, this is an excellent question. What you do today, the work that you do today, will dictate where you will be 5 to 10 years from now. What do I mean by that? You're young, and you'll be given a pass for making a lot of dumb mistakes right now, okay? The problem is, you don't just magically wake up to success when you're 30 if you've been bumming about in your 20s. So although you're young, you still have to put in that graft right now so that by the time you hit 30 and everyone starts looking at you with the eyes of expectation, that everything will fall into place. The chips will fall down naturally. So you need to be grafting. Don't waste your 20s away. Don't throw them away with going out with your mates and sitting in the shisha bar and just killing time. No. Time is killing you, habibi. Time is killing you. You're not killing time. So remember this. The work you put in today, right now, will dictate where you will be 5 to 10 years from now. Work hard, all right? Right, let's see these questions. What's your opinion about Jordan Peterson? I love Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson, I love how he explains things. Right. What would you say about a good girl who is very friendly with men and craves male attention? This is a brilliant question. What would you say about a good girl, but she is very friendly with men and craves male attention? I love this question. I don't want to sound like I'm pathologizing, but it's quite possible that this woman, and you will know better than me, has either a fractured relationship with her father, or she doesn't have a father figure in her life in the first place. That's what you tend to find with women who either have a broken relationship with their dad or just simply don't have a dad. They tend to revel in the attention of men, almost as though they're filling that void with the attention of men. And that basically means she has daddy issues, okay? Again, it's a red flag. It's a red flag. It falls under the heading of red flag. I wouldn't get involved with her. That's my personal opinion. Right. Roxy, come back. Put your thing back up. Sultan. Give me a sec, Sultan. Try and find some of these ladies, bring them on. What did you say? Yeah, I'm done now. Roxy, send your thing back again, please. AMS. Yeah, I do. I love AMS's content, man. Obviously, you have to be careful with it as Muslims. You can't take everything, but I think there's a lot of beneficial content that AMS has, even for Muslims. Can't lie, girls in uni are done up, bro. What do you think of that? I don't know what the girls in uni are like, to be honest with you. But you gotta understand, girls in uni are young. They're in their prime. They have all the options. You're not in your prime, so they kind of know it. They're in their prime. Let's see this. View request. Okay, people are asking, did my TikTok account get banned? Yes, this morning my main TikTok account got banned. I have a backup account. It's my first name. It's actually my Instagram name. Okay, Mahdi Tijani Speaks. So you can find me on there. And if you do like the content that I've been putting out, please, I ask you, forward it on to 10 friends on TikTok. Every time I put a post out, forward it on to 10 friends. This will help the algorithm and increase its reach. Now, I've also been banned on my new account for a week. I can't post for a week. I'm not too sure why, probably connected to the banning of my old account. But in a week's time, I'll be continuing to make new content, inshallah. And I'll ask of you, please, guys, if you enjoyed the content, it would mean a lot to me. If you could, every time you see a post come up, forward it to 10 friends. Hit that arrow, choose 10 friends, send it on. That helps the algorithm increase the reach of the post, okay? What do you... Lou Jane, if you want to ask this question, come on. I've answered this so many times. You can even actually, I have a IGTV video. Go onto my IGTV. There's a conversation between me and a lady, a Caucasian lady called Becky, I believe her name was. You'll find that whole conversation there, all right? Right, let's see this question. If you want to come on, by the way, send me a request. Let me bring Sultan on, see if he's still there.
Assalamu alaikum, akhi.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Yes, sir. What are you saying, my man?
How you doing, brother?
Alhamdulillah. How you doing, huh?
I'm good, alhamdulillah, bro. It's the
What's
first
your
time
name, akhi?
getting
What's
to
your name?
speak to you. Saeed, bro.
Saeed, mashallah. Nice to meet you, akhi.
Nice to meet you too, bro. Wallahi, you know, it's actually a pleasure actually meeting the man. Actually,
Alhamdulillah.
you get me. I messaged you the other day. I think you remember, innit? You replied.
Yeah, we spoke, yeah.
Come on, bro. Wallahi, you know what? I actually like what you're doing, bro. Everything you're doing, 100%. You know what I'm saying, yeah? All these haters, don't let it get to your head, bro. You're actually benefiting a lot of the man. Wallahi, you are. You're changing out a lot of males. What you said actually impacted my life a lot, you know what I'm saying?
SubhanAllah. What was that? Specifically, what was that?
When you were talking about it, you need to find a role model so that you can actually become more manly, so that you can actually become more like a more alpha figure, you know what I'm saying? You need to actually find someone to, because let me not lie, I grew up with a single mom as well, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, it was a bit difficult, but alhamdulillah, you know, I realized my mom can't teach me how to be a man.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
No.
Alhamdulillah, I found
that's no slight on your mom. Your mom's still a great lady. It's just it is what it is. I can't teach my girl how to be a lady. It is what it is.
100%.
You know?
Like, you busted, wallah, you busted. That's all I'm gonna say, bro.
I appreciate it. Make sure you follow my new account on TikTok, yeah? It's the same name.
Why did it get banned though? What happened? Like, what's going on?
I've been getting community violations for fun now. Daily offender. Daily offender.
You know what it is, bro? It's a society. So we live in a failed society, wallah, you know what I'm saying? You know what it is? Like, a lot of these feminists, what they don't realize is a lot of the Western laws are in favor to them anyways. So I don't know why like all this commotion is going on. So,
but you see, the funny thing with feminism is that it creates a generation of men whom feminists are not attracted to, like these soft, like submissive yes men. They don't. How can I say this without being vulgar? They don't make what's in between her legs wet. You understand?
Yeah.
Real talk. Seriously, like when a woman doesn't desire a man needs to ask himself, what have I done wrong for her to feel so awkward towards me? You know? So look, whenever in society the pendulum gets pushed too extreme one way, eventually it has to go back the other way. Eventually. And I believe that the reason that we're here in the first place is because, especially in the West, women were genuinely oppressed for a long time. Like, you know, they had no rights. Islam gave rights to women in the Middle East long before women were given rights in the West. So women were oppressed for ages. Now the pendulum's back is over here. We've gone to this extreme. What we want to do is we want to bring it back to equilibrium where it should be in the middle. So that's what we're trying to do, inshallah.
Bro, before I leave, I want to ask you two things, yeah?
Sure.
Number one is, bro, how did you actually become this person?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah, go on, sorry. Yeah.
I had to go on a journey, bro, Saeed. I made a lot of mistakes in my marriages. I've been married for 15 years in total, long time. I haven't been single for 15 years. And in that time, I made a lot of mistakes. Some of those mistakes could have been avoided. So instead of blaming everyone else, like the women around me and so on, I needed to take an introspective glance and look at myself. So I had to learn. I had to speak to other men who've been through what I've been through. I even came across a whole niche of content on TikTok, the so-called red pill content that you find on YouTube, on YouTube. And I was like, right, okay, I was the problem all along. Me. It was me. I was the problem. So I went through this process of learning, educating myself, looking at my mistakes and analyzing them. Instead of blaming, taking that responsibility, accepting it was my bad, and now rectifying and fixing the mistakes. And it's a constant process. That's basically it, Saeed. I mean, you learn through mistakes a lot of the time.
You do, wallah, you do, 100%.
You know?
Final question is, obviously, brother, you see, as a man, you have to always consistently be ambitious. You have to have a goal. You have to have a vision. And let me not lie, my akhi, a lot of people, they're in lockdown right now. They don't have anything to do. They have nothing to sort of gain. And as a man, obviously, that's emasculating. So what I just wanted you to do is, obviously, I just wanted you to let me sort of put this message out there that we're doing something for the brothers. Yeah. If you go through my Instagram, literally there's videos about what I'm trying to do. So wallah, if you guys, you brothers, are actually interested in actually becoming, you know, a better person, someone who's more financially free, especially in lockdown, because we kind of need it, hit me up in my DMs, wallah. Wallah, 100%. Thank you for this opportunity. Allah respect you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Instagram bio in the comments, yeah?
All right, cool. Please listen. Don't stop what you're doing, wallah. Don't stop. I would hate to see you stop. Just don't stop. Whatever you do, don't stop.
I'm here. Jazakallah khair, Saeed. Take care.
Jazakallah khair, akhi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Young shark, MashaAllah. Young shark. Right, let's see these questions. If you want to come on, send me a request. How do you argue with a feminist lady? You don't. You don't bother. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time, boy. Keep it moving. All right. Yes, mashallah. Right. If you want to come on, send me a request, inshallah ta'ala. Send me a request or put your questions in the thing. Put your questions in the thing. I'm going to scroll up, see if there's any questions I missed here. She's got to respect you before she loves you. Yes. What I will say about that is it's easier for some women to respect a man more than others. Some women really want to test you hard until they can respect you. And to those women, I say just stay away from them. They're hard work, high maintenance. It's like a car that breaks down all the time. But a woman who can easily respect a man, that's the type of woman you want. Now, that's not to say you as a man should be caught lacking. No, you need to be putting in that work. You should be commanding that respect because of the man that you are. You see? But if she's a woman who finds it easy to respect men, then you have this nice balance, this nice yin and yang. On the one hand, you have a woman who finds it easy to respect a man. And on the other hand, you have a man who commands respect because of the way he conducts himself. And I've said this multiple times before, but if you're here for the first time, do you want to know what the litmus test is? If you're a man who can command respect, I'll give you the litmus test. And I'll quote you an ayah from the Quran, whether you're Muslim or not. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَيْبِ لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَأَجْرٌ عَظِيمٌ. Those who fear their Lord in private. You want to know what type of man you are? When you're on your own and nobody's watching, surrounded by four walls, know this, you have an audience. That audience is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's your audience. He is always watching. And I don't care if you're not religious. Even if you're not religious, you're atheist. This message is for you too. When you're alone and nobody's watching you, how do you conduct yourself? Do you conduct yourself in a manner that you would be proud if others saw you? Really, think about it. Imagine there's a stadium of people. You're in the Truman Show. You're constantly being watched. That's how you need to conduct yourself. Always on point, always in your game. Whether you're religious or not, this message applies to you. Conduct yourself in a manner, in a fashion that you would be proud of at any time of the day, regardless of who's watching. And remember this, successful people become successful because of that grind, that effort that they put in whilst nobody was watching, when no one was watching. That's how you become successful. But you don't just want to be successful monetarily. You want to have a high character. You want to be successful in your character. Your character will come off according to what you do when no one's watching. Put in that work. Let's look at these questions. This is a good one. If someone harassing a feminist lady, should I help her or tell her you're equal to men, just fight him? Tell her you're equal to men, just fight him. That's what you tell her. That's brilliant. How to overlook. That's a good one. That's a great one. Okay. Hannah's got a good question here as well. Osama, my guy. How to overcome the feelings of guilt due to mistakes made in past relationships? That's a great question, Osama. I've made my fair share of mistakes. I think you can look. There's no point crying over spilt milk. Don't keep beating yourself up for it. However, so long as you have taken the lessons from where you went wrong, now you can be at peace with yourself. If you acknowledge and recognize wholeheartedly, not 50-50, not 70-30, no, 100% you. I was saying this to my wife today. I was saying to my wife about my previous relationships, that the cause of their demise was my fault. My wife was in the picture, that I had all three women on rotation at once. So she knew firsthand what I was going through. And she said to me, no, Mahdi, that's not true. It wasn't all your fault. And I said to her, no, it was. Let me tell you why. Even if my other wives were trying to challenge me or trying to step out of line, it was my responsibility to make them fall back. And I failed. That's on me. If they were unable to respect me, that's because the man that I was didn't command that respect from them. So always remember this. It's on you. It's on you. It's on you. It's on you. 100% your fault. And that's okay. Because now you've taken back control. You've taken back power. And you're able to be self-accountable. Write down notes. I write down notes. Like after my lives, sometimes I write down notes. What went well? What went wrong? I'm constantly trying to learn about myself. The one person you will live with for the rest of your life is you. What does that mean? You are the most important person you need to understand. There is no person on this planet you need to know better than you. Know thyself. So spend that time reflecting. Don't cry over spilt milk for too long. Take accountability and know now you're empowered moving forward of what not to do in the future. Hope that answered that question, inshallah, Osama. Ellis Cook, if anything, women have shown their uniqueness by competing with men and proven they are due the respect men get. I think you're saying basically men and women are equal. Ellis Cook, how much you weigh? I want to take a guess that you weigh 120 pounds. I've got a friend, his name's Sam Creasy. Yeah? You want to fight him in the octagon ring? Would you be happy to put a pro 120-pound fighter, female, with a pro 120-pound male? I don't hear you guys screaming for that. I don't hear you guys screaming for a 155-pound woman to fight Conor McGregor in the ring. I don't hear that scream of equality. I don't hear making the Olympics gender neutral. Men and women alike competing in the same races. I don't hear you fighting and screaming to have the ladies race Usain Bolt. I don't hear it. So, no, we're not equal. Sam Creasy batter most men. You're too right. He would batter me in the gym, he would. Do you think marriage? Okay. Do you think marriage mistakes are inevitable or they can be avoided through proper knowledge? Both. We make mistakes. We're human beings. But a lot of them can be avoided through knowledge, yes. Okay? Right. Hannah, any advice for women with daddy issues? If your father's still alive, try and rectify that relationship. If he's still alive, okay? If he's not alive, therapy. And I'm not a therapist. So I can't give you therapeutic advice. But if he's alive, see how you can mend this relationship. And read that book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. This will really help you, inshallah. Right. Top 3 books. This question gets harder and harder every time I read another book. But Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People, they're definitely right up there. Great question. Love this question. Barakallahu feek, Hannah. For a man to desire a woman is easy. As for a man, it's visual. How do you get a woman to desire you? Very good. Alhamdulillah. You know what? I'm going to read this to you. Let me just read this to you. I'm going to answer this to you by reading to you, all right, from 48 Laws of Power, because I was just reading it earlier. And I also read this in The Art of Seduction, but I'm going to read it to you again anyway. That's how I'm going to answer this question. Right, this is written by a woman. How to be victorious in love, okay? Right. But with those who have made an impression upon your heart, I have noticed that you are timid. This quality might affect a bourgeoise. A bourgeoise, my wife, she speaks French, she said to me, is a very posh woman, okay? But you must attack the heart of a woman of the world with other weapons. I tell you on behalf of women, there is not one of us who does not prefer a little rough handling to too much consideration. Men lose through blundering more hearts than virtue saves. The more timidity, pay attention, the more timidity a lover shows with us, the more it concerns our pride to goad him on. The more respect, please pay attention to this, the more respect he has for our resistance, the more respect we demand of him. I will read that one more time. It is so profound. The more respect he has for our resistance, the more respect we demand of him. We would willingly say to you men, in pity's name, do not suppose us to be so very virtuous. You are forcing us to have too much of it. Oh my God! Wish I read this 10 years ago. Wallah. I like watching dating programs, okay? Celebs Go Dating. You guys watch that? There's another American one, Matchmaker, Millionaire Matchmaker. I love observing the dynamics of relationships. And one thing that I have found, whether it's Joey Essex, whether it's Stephen Bear, whether it's that pirate, I forgot his name, with the long curly hair, all those men are completely unabashed in the way they approach women. They are not timid or nervous or nothing of the sort. That Stephen Bear is an absolute asshole, is the only way to describe it. And yet, he has women queuing up for him. I've made a video about Psycho Omar about this as well. Asshole, women queuing up for him. Now, am I telling you to be an asshole? No. But I am saying your timidity, your nervousness, your shyness, your lack of confidence in asserting yourself, you're too scared just in case you upset her. This affects her and infects her like a disease. Timidity infects the other person. When you are closed off and shy and nervous, you make the other person closed off and shy and nervous. When you're open and relaxed and comfortable and not thinking about yourself, you make the other person relaxed and comfortable. When a woman says, for example, in those programs, oh, I don't kiss men on the second date, that's my rule. No. La habibti. What you're saying is, I am not going to kiss you on the second date because I don't desire you. You don't make it happen for me down below. I don't desire you. But those same women will break all the rules for a Stephen Bear, for a Joey Essex, for the pirate guy, I forget his name, for a Psycho Omar. they'll break all those rules. So I say to you, take the good that you can see from this. Be open, relaxed, confident. Don't worry about making mistakes. Be bold. More mistakes are made from being timid than they are made from being bold. It's one of the laws of power. Enter actions with boldness. Even if you are wrong, you are mistaken, it's okay. It shows that you're not thinking about yourself, that you're willing to open up. Shy and timid people are thinking about themselves. It's a form of selfishness. When you're overly shy, it's because you're worried you will look like a fool. You're making it about yourself. And people pick up on that. They can sense that. They can feel that. They can feel that you're just thinking about you. Therefore, I should think about me. All right? Hope that answers that. Right, let's see some more questions here. Men with daddy issues. I mean, I've never heard of the thing. I've heard of men with mommy issues. But if it's a thing, if it exists and it is a thing, therapy. That's all I can say. Therapy. Right. Why do you think women fantasize about romances with criminals, con men? That's a good question. Why do you think women fantasize with romances, about romances with criminals and con men? Don't know about con men, but criminals tend to command respect from their people that they mix with, their associates. Let's use a drug dealer, for example. They command respect from their people. And there is a certain allure, a certain attractive magnetic pull to people who command respect from others. Like just the very fact that you break the law for a living, that means that you've got balls, basically. Even if what you're doing is downright wrong, just outright wrong, it shows that you have cojones. You understand? So I'm not saying now be a criminal. It's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying it shows that you have balls. Now you can show that you have balls whilst not breaking the law. But if the simple explanation is it shows that this man has balls. He's willing to go against the status quo. He's willing to swim upstream. This is a man who is he's sure of himself. He can protect me. You see, a man who's sure of himself, who's willing to swim upstream, this is a man who can protect me because he's already swimming upstream. I hope that answers that. AMS talked about married men being beta male providers. Can a married Muslim man be an alpha male? AMS has changed his view on that, by the way. He used to think that. He made a follow-up video, said, I don't believe that anymore. And he specifically mentioned, because I've met my Muslim brothers and my Christian brothers, he doesn't believe that anymore. All right? But I understand where he's coming from. I kind of get where he's coming from in the first place. There is some sense there. Does this one? Fashion lovers, you've been on this live for how long? Listen, I just got one question for you. In fact, you know, I want to ask you in person. Let me just ask you in person. Let's go live with this lady. Fashion lovers 101, I'm sending you a request. Of course you declined. Of course you declined. I have one question for you. If I am talking so much nonsense, if I am spewing so much gobbledygook, why have you sacrificed 45 minutes of your evening to listen to me? The hell does that say about you? She'll say she doesn't have a hijab. Can a parent interfere with my relationship and cut us off from our relationship, especially if that person was looking to get married? Please write that question in the thing and rephrase it. I don't understand it. Right. All right, I'm going to answer this question because you've asked me politely. What are the types of men to stay away from for marriage? I've done a TikTok video on this before, okay? A man who struggles to commit. is going to be a problematic man for you. Okay? If a man loses interest, okay, I'll give you an example. It's better for me to explain without using abstracts. The guy with the long curly hair, the pirate on Celebs Go Dating, he has serious commitment issues. Serious commitment issues. Now, I believe a man should always have multiple women in his rotation at some point or another. But if he's struggling to commit to you even for longer than 24 hours, you'll find that that guy, for example, I think he's got some type of trauma or some sort that prevents him from being able to commit. But even when he finds a lady that he's really like, he's gone all gooey over, 24 hours later, he's lost interest again. That type of man is going to be a nightmare man to be with. A man who doesn't want to provide for you. If he's not a provider and he fully expects you to be contributing, it's going to be problematic. Now, this also depends on what your sexual market value is. If you're a middle-aged single mom, I'm sorry, you know, that's the category that you're punching in. But if you're a young girl, for example, in your prime, never been married, don't have children, you've got access to most men, to high-value men. And if he's refusing to provide for you, even whilst you're in your prime, this is a red flag. Right. Let's see. Who's Ruby? Where's Ruby? Where's Ruby? Right. Let's view this request real quick. Ahmed Zaki. Ruby, you want to come live? Okay. Yes, Ahmed.
How are you doing, Mahdi, bro?
Alhamdulillah.
Right?
How you doing, Akhi?
I'm good, yeah. Alhamdulillah. How are you doing? You right?
Very good. Jazakallah khair. What you got for me, yeah?
Seriously, I'm not in here to tell anything. I'm just gonna get some advice from you. Just tell me, like,
Bismillah.
In a sense, like, what do I have to do? And in Islamic, not in a worldly wise, what do I have to look for a girl and go for it? What do I have to look for it? Like, not apparently, like, because of maybe morally or something like this. What do you think?
So, am I correct in saying the question you're asking is, where should I look to find the sister that I want?
No. I mean, what do I have to look for my future spouse? Like, what kind of like attributes she needs to be having?
Okay, I got you. Great question. Well, generally speaking, you're a man. You should know what you want, but I'll point it out for you because sometimes men can't articulate it very well. We tend to want women who are feminine, who can respect us easily, who are submissive, who are cooperative. If you're a Muslim man, you want a sister who is righteous. She prays 5 times a day. She covers herself appropriately. You know, have you had children before?
So, say it again.
Do you have children?
I've never been married before.
Okay, fine. So you want a sister who's younger so that she can give you children, fertility. Like, it's a real thing. When a woman passes 30, it becomes much more difficult for her to conceive. So again, generally speaking, what men are looking for in a woman is, look, after her deen, of course, you're a Muslim man, femininity, fertility, youth, beauty, respect, cooperation.
You want to say femininity, you mean that the revolution, which the feminism, you mean on that wise, or just that particular femininity that they have to have?
Femininity, she's a feminine woman, bro. Have you ever met a feminine woman? She's like, she giggles, she laughs, she's shy, like.
No, but in nowadays, because they define the femininity as similar as a man, like you
what
have
do
to
you define femininity as? That's what matters.
Okay. Yeah.
You already know.
Fair enough.
Do you like feminist women? Do you like feminists? Women who
yeah,
are
of course.
feminists?
I don't like a man. I don't want like a woman to act like a man. No, I don't like.
Right. So you already know, Akhi. You already know. When you meet her, you can tell straight away from her vibe. You can tell this is a feminine woman or this is a masculine woman. You already know. Does that help?
Yes, yeah, that's true, man.
I think we've got a poor connection. Does that help, Akhi?
You know, the connection is not good here. Where I live, the connection is not good. Even though I use the
all right. Listen, I'm going to bring another person on, Ahmed, all right? You look after yourself.
Okay.
Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Ruby, where are you? Let's try and bring Ruby on. Ruby Carr. Let me find her comment. Ruby. Go live with Ruby. I don't know if you wanted to go live. I'm guessing you did based on the comments. Fashion Lovers 101. Are you still here? Allah al-Musta'an. Oh my days. The cognitive dissonance is strong, brother. Naturally submissive, she's high value. Yeah. And look, gentlemen, let's not get it twisted now. We don't want women who can easily respect us just so that we can walk all over them. No, that's not my point here. Some men want a woman who can easily respect him so that he can have his wicked way with her. That doesn't define you as a high value male. No, you need to, again, this comes back down to the yin and the yang. You still need to be a high value male. Be on your graft, be of high character, high morals, and so on. And at the same time, if you have a woman who is able to easily respect you, that's the perfect yin and yang. A lot of men do want to dominate women who are easy to dominate just so that they don't have to provide them with their rights. That's not yin and yang. That's just yin. That's all about you. So it works both ways. It works both ways. Nevertheless, if you're a high value man or a man aspiring to be a high value man, that's the type of woman you want. A woman who can easily respect you. She doesn't make you jump through multiple hoops over and over and over and over and over, constantly competency testing you. Long, so long. I've dealt with those women. Long. It's long. Right, questions. What should I do? Shawty is airing me. Right. What should I do if this short is airing me? All right. Arjun, great question. Firstly and foremostly, again, if it's bothering you that she's airing you, it's probably because you've put all your chips down on her. Okay? You've placed all your chips down on her. The more chips you have in your rotation, the less it bothers you. It's like the more income streams you have, the less dependent you are on any one of them, right? So that's the first thing, is that it sounds to me like you've placed all your chips on her. Secondly, though, she's probably airing you again because you showed her too much interest in the first place. Okay, you just showed her too much interest. I've spoken to girls firsthand. I had one girl say to me, I lose interest in a man when he shows too much attention to me, but I feel too bad to say anything to him. So I'll go along for a period of time until suddenly I just air him. This is what happens to men. Oh God. And then you get it twisted thinking, oh, but we were getting on really well. And then suddenly she aired you. Now she's been planning that for a hot minute, but she just felt too bad. And now suddenly it became too much. It's too much attention, too much texting, all these fancy emojis, love hearts, and all the rest of it. Now forget all that nonsense. Listen, especially when you're looking for a sister to marry, please, it doesn't even matter, dating for that matter. No pillow talk. No long-ass text message conversations. You want to have a conversation, you want to meet, you want to talk with her, you meet up in person. After that, there's no texting backwards and forwards. Hey, babe, did you get homework? Forget that nonsense. Back on your graft. When you are too available as a man, it's an indication you don't have anything else going on in your life. It's an indication you're not busy. So be careful of the subliminal messages your actions are having. When you do one thing, it's giving a subliminal message. When you're too available, you're too open, you're constantly talking the whole day long, it's an indication that you're not on your grind, you're not on your graft. And furthermore, you don't have options. Remember, women are attracted to men who many other women are attracted to. They like to know that they're with a man that their girlfriends wish they could have got with. They secretly like that. So be that man. All right? Right. Okay, it's a good question. Should a man consider a woman who has been divorced but has no kids? Great question, Osama. Again, it depends. Depends where you're punching in terms of your value. If you're a high value male, you have all the options. You have plenty of women to choose from, right? So I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're working towards that, then maybe you're not quite punching at that level yet. Maybe, but what I will say is this. You probably heard of the concept of alpha widow. An alpha widow is a woman who was once with a very masculine alpha man, and as a result, he's imprinted her, he stamped her with his mark, and now to pair bond, to emotionally connect with another man. It's a real thing, alpha widow. And the risk you run with divorcee women is that they've been alpha widowed. So, look, again, I don't recommend it. I'll be honest with you. There's so many options out there, so much choice. I don't recommend it. I really don't. I've done it before. Okay? I have done it before when I wasn't aware of this whole concept of a low value, high value, and so on and so forth. And when I myself was a low value man. So I don't recommend it. There's so much risk involved. You don't know if she's been alpha widowed. You don't know what her emotional state is. You know, but I mean, it's your call, bro. It's your call. Fashion lovers, let's bring you back on. You're still here. Let's send you another invite. You're still talking. Let's all encourage her to get on. No, of course she declined. But you're still waffling in the comments. You know what? I'm going to let you continue embarrassing yourself. All right, next question. Sounds a bit crude, but yeah, we looked at that. Simping and pandering is destroying my people, my guy. Should a man ever reveal his true emotions to a woman? Some good questions here, man. Should a man ever reveal his true emotions to a woman? I love this question, and I'm going to ask. Woke mind, you always ask me good questions, bro. I like your questions. I will answer this question with an analogy that Jordan Peterson gave. You know, Jordan Peterson talks about the lobsters, right? And I don't remember exactly the relationship he was drawing between human beings and lobsters from a perspective of our DNA. But he used a great example, and that was this. Lobsters, male lobsters, walk around with this hard shell on all the time, okay? And they rely upon this hard shell when they want to go into combat with another lobster. But if this lobster goes into combat with another lobster and he defeats the other lobster, now the first lobster has access to all the female lobsters, okay? The female lobsters that were in that clan, or whatever it is. I don't know what they call them, right? So when this male lobster with his big hard shell wants to be intimate, I should say, with the female lobster, what does he do? He removes his hard shell, puts it to the side so that he can be physically intimate with the female lobster. But what does that do? What does that mean for the male lobster during that protracted period of intimacy? It means he's vulnerable. He is vulnerable. His fleshy meat is all on display, and he can easily be attacked by anyone, male or female lobster alike, just for that brief moment of intimacy. Once he's finished being intimate, he then returns to his shell, puts it back on, and carries on as usual. What's the parable we can draw from this as men? The parable is this. For the most part, you need to be walking around with your hard shell on, not displaying or conveying or portraying too much emotion. However, there will be times when you're with your loved one, okay, I'm presuming wife, when you're with your wife, when you need to remove your shell and be intimate. You tell her a few sweet things, a few sweet nothings. You express your love for her and so on. But it's a protracted period. If you're too hard, eventually you will lose her. And if you're too soft and mushy, eventually she'll take it for granted and won't value it. So once again, we're back with that yin and yang. You need to have that balance. For the most part, you walk around stoic, in a stoic fashion. And then you spice it with a bit of emotional vulnerability. That's the balance. That's the balance. But great question. Simping and pandering is destroying my people. Yeah, I mean, it's destroying everyone. And, you know, I don't blame men as well. I really don't blame men. Look, we've grown up on a diet of Disney, on a diet of now Netflix. And what's the one common theme you see with all these men? Is that we're taught to simp. We're taught to pander towards women's requests and desires and needs. That's what we're taught. It's a subliminal education. And then it fails miserably in the real world. So we'll rectify this soon. We'll rectify it. Yeah, in LTRs, feminine men bring the worst out of women, masculine women bring the worst out of men. Yeah, I mean, look, feminine men make women masculine. Someone's got to be masculine. If a man is feminine, he's passive, he's indecisive, well, someone's got to take the leadership role. She ends up doing it. She's like, fine, we'll go here. Fine, I'll get that. No, we're not doing this. She inevitably steps into her masculine state. Equally, a masculine man puts a woman in her feminine state. When you're a masculine man, you put her in her feminine state. If you want to come on the live, got a few minutes before I wrap this up. See these questions. Why? Cara, this is a very, very kind of you. I appreciate it. Why do single women dislike you, but married women like myself appreciate your knowledge? Well, firstly and foremostly, thank you, Cara. I appreciate that. It does mean a lot when I hear that from a sister, from a woman. So I appreciate that. Why do they dislike me? I mean, you're going to have to ask them to begin with. But I will say this. My message inherently is quite uncomfortable. Think about it. Particularly the conversations I've had with single moms who are, you know, past their prime. What they are essentially, why I've essentially told them is, you're not as desirable now as you were 10 years ago. That's an uncomfortable piece of information to make peace with. It's like, hold on a minute. You're telling me that I'm not as desirable now as I was 10 years ago. And I'm like, yes, that's right. You're not. You see, a lot of these women think that they can just go through multiple divorces, kids from multiple baby fathers, and everything's just rosy and dandy. There's no consequences to that. No, there is. And I want the younger women who watch my content, and there are only few of them, but I want you younger women to know that marriage is not what Disney told you it would be. Marriage is hard. Marriage requires work, and the grass is greener where you water it. Most of the time, if you insist upon getting your divorce, you're not going to get someone better than the guy you already had. And I'll tell you why. Like attracts like. If your man's a piece of trash, it's probably because you're a piece of trash. Like attracts like. So I say to you this, instead of coming back out into the dating market with 2 kids on tow or 3 kids on tow and second divorce behind you, instead of doing that, make it work with your husband. Find ways. Everyone has grounds for divorce after a week of marriage. The question is, can you find grounds for marriage? That's the question. And that's not my quote. I took that from Laura Doyle's book, The Empowered Wife. We must find grounds for marriage. We have fanciful ideas as to what marriage is. It's not that. And it needs work. And it needs education. It needs a lot of education and a lot of work. So the single moms in particular don't like my message because what I have said to them is basically, you're probably not going to get much better than what you had. And that's the truth. That's the raw truth. And they don't like that. They prefer to live in Disneyland, which says you can have whatever you want. The Oprah crew. No, Habibti, you can't. You can have what you're eligible for. That's what you can have. In the Muslim community, it's probably going to mean you're going to end up in polygyny if you've got a couple of kids on tow. It happened to my ex-wife. My ex-wife left polygyny because she couldn't handle it. Spent a couple of years on the market looking to get married again. Couldn't find a single man. Well, I'm not going to say she couldn't find, but let's just leave it there. But ended up getting married as a second wife. She married again as a second wife. And that's probably what's going to happen to a lot of these single women. I mean, at least Islam has facilitated a solution for them, because amongst the non-Muslims, a lot of men just don't ramp with single women, single mothers, sorry. So I think my message is quite painful to accept. It's a painful reality because Disney told me that I can be valuable when I'm 20, when I'm 40, as desirable. Let's forget the word valuable now. No, you're much less desirable at 40 than you were at 20. And that's okay. Make peace with it. Make peace with it. Shoot your shot when you're young. Find a good man for yourself. Make the marriage work. Make it work. We need to get these ridiculous divorce rates down. Absolutely ridiculous. But thank you, Cara. Appreciate it. Okay, good question. Let's answer this real quick. What are the primary traits of a high-value male? All right, give you the short answer. Richard Cooper's answer. A high-value male is a man whom many other men want to be like and whom many women are attracted to. Short answer. Okay, but long answer, a man of high character, high morals, high values, and high resources. Can't forget the money part, guys. Can't forget the money part. Yeah. Now, you could turn around and tell me, but the Prophet ﷺ was poor, but Ali radiallahu anhu was poor. Yes, that's true. Are you the Prophet ﷺ? Are you Ali radiallahu anhu? No, you're not. Far from it. All right? So the way you're going to bring up your value is high morals, high character, but you need the resources. You need to have the P. You need to be able to provide a high level of security to your spouse. And that takes time. Okay? It's not going to happen overnight. It takes time. That's high value. Hope that answers that question. All right, let's bring this individual on real quick. Jay Swasti. Jay Swasti, I'm inviting you onto the live. There's lots of divorced men and women that would be a perfect world. Just follow a variety of people. Live your life. Just follow the animal. I'll take care of you. Okay, I don't think they're coming on. Let's have a look at this one last question now. Okay, this is a good one. Mahdi, as a Muslim, I'd never let my wife go out with makeup. But if a sister has lots of makeup, what could the reason for that be? Listen, in general, whether it's Muslim or non-Muslim, if a woman is going out beautifying herself beyond what would normally be expected of her, what I mean by that is, if you're a non-Muslim, then you don't wear hijab, right? But there could be a set definition of what going out respectably would mean for you. And then going over that would be perhaps, I don't know, a shorter skirt, for example, or a tighter trousers. In the Muslim community, hijab, abaya is the expected norm, right? But if she suddenly one day starts, I don't know, pulling back that hijab a little bit, lay on extra layers of makeup, it's very simple. When a sister starts doing this, if she's married, please understand. Women are very practical. They're practical minded. They don't just get divorced and then start looking. No, even in the Muslim community, and wallahi, I'm speaking from experience, first-hand experience. When a woman is done with you emotionally, she'll hang on in there for a bit longer while she starts organizing backup guy, looking for the backup guy. Believe me, this is what she's doing. When a woman is marketing herself beyond what is expected as the norm in her culture, in that cultural societal norm, it's because she's marketing herself. She doesn't see her husband as her best option anymore. That's the cold truth. All right? All right. Let's wrap this up. Thank you very much, guys. Jazakumullah khair. I hope you guys, gentlemen, the guys who follow me, firstly and foremost, thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Just remember, guys, one of the key tenets that I want you to bear in mind is high character. Yeah? I don't want any squabbling in the comments, insults left and right. Nah. Leave that to those low-value people. You're an aspiring high-value man. Leave that behavior to the low-value trash. Yeah? No, be stoic. Somebody insults you, it's okay. It's not a problem. It doesn't diminish anything from you. Let's get away from these catty fights and arguments. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Jazakallah khair. Give my new TikTok account a follow. I'll be posting next week once my ban comes off. And yeah, I really appreciate the support, the kind messages you guys send me. I overlook this a lot, and I want you to know that the support you have shown me, particularly in my DMs, provides me with a lot of validation that what I'm doing is important. and that I need to continue this message regardless of the backlash. And I will work on improving my delivery. I know I have shortcomings there. Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Jazakumullah khair. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.